What's up, guys? This is the Gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. And this evening, it's been a long day at work, but I do want to chime in on this thing with the Esquire, Esquire.com or whatever, the whole Matt Miller bullshit that's been going on. You know, at work, I listen to my Bluetooth most of the day, so it's like I listen to a lot of my brothers and sisters in arms in the Fandom Menace on YouTube, so I've been following this story pretty closely, and I have to say, shout out to Lord Doomcock. All hail, Lord Doomcock. And also Ethan Van Sciver, I want to shout him out. I want to shout out Stephanie Janicek, and many, many others have gotten dead in that ass, Matt Miller. So, and they've handled you. They've handled you. You got beat. Your ass got beat a lot like how your ass got beat just about as bad as Hillary's ass got beat in that last election. Now listen, I'm not getting political here. It's a fact. Her ass got beat. Did she not? Was she not defeated? Okay, that's how you would defeat it, Matt Miller. All right, my advice to you would be to stay down. Okay, so listen, I just want to point a couple of things out real quick, because I'm getting sick and fucking tired of this, and I know that we're heading towards next year. It's just about 1 year until the release of episode 9, so I see that you're starting to ramp up the bullshit, you know, so I guess this is how it's going to be now. But one thing that I am very, very happy to observe is that it seems to me that the Fandom Menace is getting tougher. It's getting rougher. We're not going to take your bullshit. Okay? Anytime any of you useless trolls rear your ugly, pathetic, mean-spirited, cynical heads, we will chop it off. Figuratively speaking. Okay? Now listen, one of the things that I want to address, actually a couple of little things like right off the top. You are very, very insulting, and you want to act like you don't understand why were people going apeshit or whatever it was that you were saying. I just gave my opinion. I don't understand. You remind me of some freaking dude like in a back room doing lines or something. You're like, yeah, I don't fucking stand. What the fuck is going on with this shit? Listen. You insult a fan base that you know is loyal to this particular story, this Star Wars thing. You know what you're doing, and people like you will continue to be challenged. It's like, what did you start off by saying? You're calling people idiots. Okay, you say that Rian Johnson has been trying to explain to these idiots his movie for an entire year. I got news for you, mouth snot. If you have to explain your movie for an entire year, do you think it's the fans or do you think it's the person who produced the bullshit? That's like a comedian doing a stand-up routine, and people don't laugh, and the comedian is going to stand up there for an entire year trying to explain his corny-ass jokes. Listen, it didn't work. Okay, the audience did not appreciate what you were doing. You can try to explain it all you want. You can try to act like, oh, come on, how can you not say that that was funny? You know what it is. You're racist. That's what this is. You're all racist because I'm a black stand-up comedian. Or if it's an all-black audience and I'm a white stand-up comedian. You're all racist. No, funny is funny. And not funny is not funny. And not entertaining is not entertaining. Now, the fans have spoken. The customers have spoken. They weren't entertained by The Last Jedi. Okay? What the fuck kind of socialist are you? What kind of commie are you, where you think that you can force people, you can force them to appreciate what they did not like? It doesn't work that way. Now listen, there's another thing, and I want to get into this aspect of it, all right, because I want people like you to understand in no uncertain terms, all right? You see me, okay? You understand what you're dealing with, all right? Now, I know that you want to act like you don't see me. You just want to concentrate on one aspect of the fandom. All right, but people like me, a black man, you want to act like you don't see me, but I fucking know that you do. I'm looking right at you, Matt. I can see you, Matt. Matt, why are you not wearing pants? Oh my God, Matt. Listen, okay, listen, well, let's get past that. I'm not judging. After all, Matt, if you can see me, I'm not wearing pants either. So, you might be feeling a little inadequate right now, but that's not the point. Swing! But anyway, let me get back to a serious topic here, because I do want you to understand something, Matt. I'm getting sick and tired of people like you using racial issues and racial topics to try to push your own agenda, to try to push your own point of view. You're a coward, Matt. People like you are yellowback bastard cowards. If you have a political view that you want to represent or a political agenda that you want to try to push forward, leave black people out of it. Leave women out of it. Leave sexuality out of it. Stand on your own, Matt. That's what a man does. You act like you want to be a champion for minorities. Have you been discriminated against based upon your blackness? I'm not even going to say your race, because everyone has been discriminated against. All right, but I wouldn't pretend to know your discrimination. So why the fuck are you pretending to know my discrimination? Why are you putting it out there like somehow you're going to be the voice for somebody like me? How much do you think we have in common, Matt? Where to the point where you can talk about my racial experience with something that I love, such as Star Wars. Matt, when I went to go see Star Wars, I went to go see it with my friend from work who just happens to be a white man. Okay? And when I looked around in that movie theater, I saw all different types of people represented in that movie theater. Okay? None of them clapped, by the way. I talked about this on another video. None of them applauded at the end of the movie. All right? For all of the diversity that was in that theater. So you mean to tell me that all of those people in there were haters? All those people in there were full of hate and resentment and evil? No, Matt, I think you're the evil one, because that's what you're pushing. People like you, I can see what you're doing because you're using me. You're using people like me. And I'm going to call you out on it, as only I can, because only I am in this skin, in front of this camera right now, Matt. And I see what you're doing. You're setting up resentment amongst people. Matt, you don't speak for me. And I want everyone to know, people like Matt, all of these social justice warrior bullshitters don't speak for me. They don't speak for people like me. Why? Because I'm a grown man and I can fucking speak for myself, because I'm in front of this camera speaking, right? So I don't need you, Matt. Nobody needs you. Speak for yourself, Matt. Speak for yourself. And leave the names, leave names like racist, misogynist, leave it out. All right? Because you're in no position to address that to the point where you can put it on somebody else as a means of condemnation. That's the point. You can have an opinion about anything in the world as long as God gave you a brain. I'm not the type of person who says, oh, because you're white, you can't talk about black issues. I'm saying that you can't speak for black people. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's all you're doing. You're trying to stir the seeds of resentment, the seeds of real hatred, and you think that you're being slick by putting it on other people. Oh, well, black people are offended because there was no representation of black people in Star Wars in the 70s and the 80s. Wrong. As somebody who lived through it, I can tell you for sure, I love Star Wars. I loved everything that it represented. I loved all of the heroes, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, C-3PO, R2-D2, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, Grand Moff Tarkin, you know, everybody, Wedge, everybody. I love those movies. My son loved those movies, who is a child. He's 10 years old. But then, The Last Jedi came along, and it was mean, it was dark, it was mean-spirited, it was twisted. It saw all of the wrong in humanity and tried to somehow work it into the story. The first chapter that we saw of Star Wars was entitled Episode 4, A New Hope. Hope. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You are our only hope. Those three characters, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, became symbols of hope. You took every last one of them and broke them and twisted them and discarded them like trash. And you think that we're all supposed to feel good about that. You think we're not supposed to feel some kind of way about what you did. It doesn't work that way, Matt. If you had any idea, if you were anywhere near the fan that you claim that you are, you would know better. And you would call it out for what it is. And you wouldn't use something like racism so frivolously. I talked to my grandfather, I've talked to my father, I've talked to many people in my community about the past in this country, about what they went through. My grandfather flew the flag, the American flag, up until the day that he died. Probably about 8 years ago now. My grandfather was an amazing man, a World War II veteran. I'm so proud of him. I have a picture of him, and he was in the Navy, and I can't say enough about him. He sacrificed for his family, and he always loved America for its potential, for everything that it could be. And my grandfather told me some stories of racism. You want to talk about racism? Matt Miller, you show me the video footage of some of these far-right groups that you're talking about, standing outside a movie theater, pulling black people out of the movie theater the way that they used to pull black people out of the Woolworths and throw them off buses and sick dogs on them. How the fuck can you equate what's going on today, whether people like or don't like a movie, to the past that we've come through in this country? And this country is growing. So yeah, we made a lot of mistakes in this country. We've been through a lot. We've been through a lot of racism. There are still places where, there's still room for improvement, for sure. Absolutely. Because people are always going to discriminate. That's the way it is. But something, people have a right to even do that, as long as they're not hurting people, as long as they're not stopping somebody else's ability to be able to live a productive and happy life. I don't need people to love me or to like me. I don't need people to include me in their movie. I didn't need it then, and I don't need it now. I did a video probably over a year ago, and it was entitled, "Nobody Has to Love You." You don't have the right to demand of people to love you. I live by that. Nobody has to love me. Nobody has to like me. It's like when I see the thumbs up on my videos, that's great. But when I see the thumbs down on the video, that's great. I don't ask people, and I don't assume, oh, you're just giving me the thumbs down because you're black. No. Because I'm black. No. I don't do that. I don't even think that. Even if it's true, they have a right to not like me because I'm black. I understand. You know what I'm saying? It's like everyone is going to have their preference. Everyone is going to have who they're attracted to as human beings and who they're not attracted to as human beings. Maybe they've seen something in their lives that have led them to this point in their lives where they do discriminate, or they do have a prejudice or something like that. All in the family. Archie Bunker, he was prejudiced. He was a bigot and everything, but he was shown to be ignorant. He was shown to be someone who had a limited view of the world, who had a tendency to reconsider certain things, as he became aware of them. And every human being has a right to do that. Every human being has a right to grow. So all I'm saying is that, Matt Miller, if you're going to use race in your articles, to condemn Star Wars fans and things like that, then you need to understand that it's not the end of the world if people don't want to see, for example, if people don't want to see women, in a movie, or black people in a movie, or white people in a movie. Actually, people have a right to do that, and they have a right to not see that movie. So, and by the way, it kind of reminds me of something. It's like you also belittle people who are remaking or trying to remake The Last Jedi, or do it over. Now, my question to you is, of these people who are remaking or attempting to remake the movie, how many of them have actively taken Finn and Rey and Rose out of their movie? Are they just trying to make a better movie, a more cohesive movie, a more entertaining movie? Because if they're racist like you say they are, and misogynistic like you say they are, then they will probably be trying to delete these characters that you claim they hate so much. But I don't think that's the case. I think people just have identified The Last Jedi for the piece of crap that it is. And you can talk around it all you want. But I'm telling you, for my part, I'm just sick of people like you. I'm sick and fucking tired of people like you trying to use, and I hate this term, trying to use the race card to further your own selfish, evil, cynical intentions. And I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out, Matt Miller, and people like you. You see me, I know you do. You want to ignore me. You want to act like you don't see it. That's fine. Okay? But I know the truth. You don't give a shit about black people. You don't give a shit about women. You don't give a shit about Asians. You don't give a fuck about anything except yourself. For all that bullshit that you guys talk, none of you are giving up your position. The same way that those people wouldn't give up their seat to that old woman back in the 50s, the 60s? Forgive my ignorance, guys. I'm talking about Rosa Parks, of course. But there it is. You're obvious. You're transparent. I can see through you. And people like you are going to continue to get challenged. You're going to continue to get exposed. And I'm glad for it. And I do hope that episode 9 fails. If people like you are pushing it, if people like you are behind it, it can be no good for any of us. All we wanted was a good story. That's all we still want. All of us are still Star Wars fans. We just want a good story. But people like you want to twist it, you want to make it ugly, and you're going to continue to do that. But like I said, you can expect that you're going to meet up with the fandom menace every single time. Now, either you show me where these so-called toxic, racist, misogynistic fans have been putting out all of this hate talk and hate speech. You show me the video clips, of YouTubers who are spewing hatred. You show me that. You show all of us that. This is my challenge to you. Give us examples. Give us evidence. If you can't, shut the fuck up. Alright guys, anyway, there's a lot more that I could say about this, but I have some things that I gotta do. But I just wanted to weigh in on this. And once again, to my fandom menace brothers and sisters out there, good job. I'm proud to be among you. So anyway guys, before I go, of course I want to say thank you to everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments. I truly do appreciate it. And I'm going to see you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.